A woman and her boyfriend charged after she takes her two young sons to the hospital and doctors find serious injuries. I'll tell you what Haley Province and her boyfriend are accused of doing. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. When Haley Province took her two little boys to the hospital last month because one of them was in pain, it led to a police investigation and criminal charges for Province and her boyfriend, Bobby Bender. And Allegheny County Police in Pennsylvania say drugs are a part of this. This started back on November 4th when Province took her 2-year-old son to Children's Hospital because the boy was having leg pain and swelling. The criminal complaint states it was determined by the ER doctors that the 2-year-old had suffered a severe femoral fracture to his right leg. Due to a concern for abuse, the other child was also evaluated by Children's Hospital doctors. The other child was identified as a 3-year-old male. The 2-year-old is identified as John Doe 1 in the complaint, and the description of his injuries is so incredibly sad. The injuries are listed as a 10th rib fracture, a femur fracture, a tibia fracture, a metatarsal fracture, which is part of the foot. Other injuries listed: 2 humerus fractures, which are bones in the upper arm, a scapula fracture, which is in the upper back. Doctors also found cell death in the brain, multiple cuts and bruises, and the child tested positive for cocaine. It's just unbelievable, that poor little boy. So with all of those injuries, which are horrific for a 2-year-old boy or any child for that matter, police say that little boy tested positive for cocaine. And because of his injuries, doctors examined his 3-year-old brother. The 3-year-old's injuries were listed as a clavicle fracture. That's the collarbone on both the left and right side. Also, he had a 10th rib fracture, according to the complaint, and neck ligatures. This is horrible too, but that last part about neck ligatures is terrible. That means the child showed signs of strangulation. Detectives wrote, according to Dr. Clayton, all of these injuries were in various stages of healing, ranging from 1 week to approximately 3 months. Dr. Clayton also informed us that all of these injuries would have caused extreme pain to the children and would have been noticeable. Dr. Clayton further stated that all of these injuries were inherent of child abuse and would not have been accidentally inflicted injuries. The complaint says detectives interviewed Haley Province, and she told them that her sons were primarily with her and her boyfriend.
Hey, everyone. So this case is local to me here in Pittsburgh. Well, I'm Rankin, over by Kennywood, probably like 20 minutes from me. I did not see this until last night because I don't watch my local news as much as I should. This pisses me off to no end. I think it needs to be out there, and I hope these motherfuckers get the death penalty. I really do. I looked her up on Facebook. Her page is a little bit private. You can't see much on it. She has pictures of these children, and it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Okay? I got something in my eye. So let me read this to you. Rankin, PA. Although Anjanette Levy said it was in Sharon, PA, but our local news says Rankin. Rankin, PA, a local mother and her boyfriend are facing charges after police say they abused 2 toddlers to the point of hospitalization. The criminal complaint said 2 toddlers, ages 2 and 3, were at the UPMC Children's Hospital on November 5th. They were brought in by their mother, Haley Province. The complaint said the 2-year-old had several fractures in his leg, as well as hand fracture, 2 arm fractures, a shoulder fracture, and a rib fracture. He also had multiple cuts and bruises with well-defined edges. Cell death throughout his brain tested positive for cocaine. The 3-year-old had fractures to both collarbones, a rib, an injury to his neck. Doctors determined the injuries ranged in stages from healing to 1 week to around 3 months old. The complaint said doctors also said they were inherent of child abuse and could not be caused accidentally. Province told detectives she and her boyfriend, Bobby Bender, recently moved in together to a home in Rankin. She said a week prior, she went to the store, left her children in Bender's care. She said when she got home, she noticed the 2-year-old would not stand up. She didn't take him to the hospital, guys. He would not stay standing, would not pull weight on his right leg, and cried when Province would try to have him stand. The complaint said Province denied seeing Bender hitting her children, but did say she noticed bruising on them when she left the children alone with him. Province also stated she used cocaine but had been clean for 1 to 2 months. The complaint said suspected cocaine residue was found in the house during a search warrant, and evidence suggested Bender and Province selling the drug. Bender told police he watched the children every Friday for a few hours while Province went to the doctor. He also said he did cocaine but had been clean for around 2 weeks and did not have it around the children. Province and Bender were both charged with 6 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of endangering the welfare of children, and 1 count of criminal conspiracy. Now, I haven't listened to all of this, but I want to listen to Angela Levy because she states that one of the children had passed away. Thank you, Tragedy Pimps Exposed. These are the cases that I feel need to be followed. This is outrageous to me, and I will be following up on this case, looking into the court records of this case, maybe even going to court hearings. This aggravates the fuck out of me. It really does. So let's listen to Angela Levy for a little bit.
Boyfriend Bobby Bender, and that since she and Bender had moved in together in July, their relationship had changed. The complaint said, when asked what she means by that, Province elaborated and explained that he has become more physical with her and that the two of them argue and fight a lot. The detective said Haley Province also noticed bruises on one of the boys after leaving them with Bender, and you'd think that might have prompted some questions. Now listen to this part of the complaint. According to Province, she noticed that Doe 1 would not put weight on his leg the week prior. Based on Province's statement, it is estimated that this would have occurred on October 28th, 2024. Province explained that she went to the store for approximately
a week prior. She waited a week to take her child to Children's Hospital, which is literally 15 minutes away from her. Rankin is not far. It's a straight shot up Penn fucking Avenue, dude. This pisses me off. Like, it really pisses me off.
Approximately 45 minutes, leaving the children in the primary care of Bender. When Province returned from the store, she stated that Doe 1 was sitting on the floor playing and would not stand up. She stated that she then put him to bed at approximately 1830 hours and did not wake him until approximately 0900 hours the following day. Province said that she provided Doe 1 breakfast in bed and then proceeded to get him up for the day at approximately 1200 hours. When Province attempted to have Doe 1 stand to put clothes on him, he would not stay standing and would not put weight on his right leg. Province also stated that Doe 1 was fussy and crying the entire time she would attempt to have him stand. Province then provided no care for Doe 1 from October 28, 2024 until her, Province's grandmother, instructed her to go to Children's Hospital on November 4th, 2024. Detectives then questioned Bobby Bender. Detectives said Bender told them he used cocaine, but he only uses soft, while Province used crack. He also claimed that he hadn't used cocaine in 2 weeks and didn't use it around the children. Detectives say they did a search warrant on the apartment where Bobby Bender and Haley Province lived with the 2 boys, and they found a bag with white residue believed to be cocaine and a straw. And they also found a cell phone with the following text message that led them to believe Bender and Province were not only using cocaine, but also selling it. Someone named Mikey Barr was messaging their phone. Mikey Barr says, yo. Vendor in Province's phone responds, what's up, brah? Mikey Barr responds, emoji of a snowflake. Vendor/Province respond, how much? Mikey Barr responds, how much? Vendor and Province respond, 100. Mikey Barr responds, it gas? Vendor Province responds, fire. Mikey Barr says, meat? Vendor and Province face several counts of aggravated assault, endangering welfare of children, and conspiracy. The cases I cover each day for you here on Crime Fix show you just how scary the world can be and one of the scariest things that can happen. So if you're ever hurt, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com.
And all to comment.
Let me make sure I'm unmuted. This is from Channel 4, WTAE. Allegheny County couple charged after children hospitalized, found with cocaine in one system. Bobby Bender, Haley Province. Pictures from the Allegheny County Jail. According to a criminal complaint, an Allegheny County couple is facing numerous charges after allegedly abusing two children earlier this month. According to a criminal complaint, two children were taken to Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh on November 5th by their mother, 28-year-old Haley Province, after she noticed one of the children were unable to stand on their leg a week prior. Doctors at the hospital said both children sustained numerous injuries, with one testing positive for cocaine. The complaint said when the police questioned Province, she told police she suspected both children were abused by her boyfriend, 35-year-old Bobby Bender, while she left their apartment for groceries on October 28th, but I thought it was a doctor's appointment, right? Officials, however, said Province was aware of the severity of the children's injuries, only bringing them to the hospital after a family member recommended that she seek medical care for them. The complainant said, "Thank you to that family member." Thank God. Province told officers she and Bender shared an apartment in Rankin and had moved in together in July. So this is a new boyfriend with Bender since becoming more aggressive towards her. So this is a new boyfriend. She moves into her home. They do cocaine together. He's aggressive towards her, yet she leaves her children alone with him. Dude, let me meet this fucking girl. Officers later obtained a search warrant for the apartment and spoke with Bender. When questioned about the traces of cocaine, Bender told officials she had used the drug for 2 weeks before. She had used the drug 2 weeks before the incident and had since been clean, the complainant said. A preliminary search of the apartment found suspected traces of cocaine, which were later sent for testing. The complainant said a cell phone was also taken from the scene, where officers found numerous messages involving the illegal sale of the drug. Officials later determined both Province and Bender were the main caretakers of the two children. They face multiple charges, including aggravated assault and endangering the welfare of children. So I guess none of the children passed away and I was wrong. Thank goodness. But this is just mind fucking blowing. To me, I'm going to finish watching this and then we can talk about Summer's case a little bit. But I wanted to introduce this case because I feel it needs to be talked about. This happens every day. Drug abuse is a problem. It causes parents not to care for their children.
An occurrence, and that these children really need a voice and an advocate because they are of an age where they are probably not going to be able to testify or to report what happened to them. So I really, really hope that there are systems in place that will make sure that they have a voice in the process.
You said it's all too common, and I feel like we do way too many stories about children being abused or killed, heaven forbid. Thank goodness these children got to the hospital when they did. But what's kind of bothers me about this, or what really bothers me about it, is the fact that Haley Province, according to the criminal complaint, had to be told by her grandmother to take the 2-year-old to the hospital. I mean, the kid could not stand on his leg and was having so much pain. And she had to be told to do this. And it still took some time for her to take the child to the hospital.
Right. Denial, I suppose, is a powerful thing, or fear of consequences. But I think in this situation, we can all say, thank goodness that there was someone like Grandma who was there, who was the voice of reason, who was something of a Jiminy Cricket, lending a conscience to the situation to make sure that this child did receive some care. Better late than never, unfortunately. But
I don't understand why, if your child can't stand for a week, you do not take that child to the hospital or to a doctor. We have in Pittsburgh and in Rankin multiple emergency rooms, like little health centers everywhere. Pittsburgh is known for its hospitals. We have many of them. There is no reason this bitch couldn't take her kid to a hospital. It aggravates the life out of me.
But let's thank goodness that there was at least someone looking out for the best interests of the children.
Mm-hmm. The 2-year-old had some really serious injuries. I mean, it wasn't just the leg injury. There was a 10th rib fracture. There was some brain, it sounded like some cell death in the left side of his brain. So it sounds to me as if this child, I mean, I don't know what happened because I'm not an expert in this. You would be more somebody who would be an expert in this. So, the cell death part in the brain really, that's very concerning. Did the child suffer a head injury? Was the child shaken? I mean, this is some serious, serious stuff. And it sounds like the 2-year-old bore the brunt of these injuries, according to the complaint.
Right. And I think what it also indicates is that this abuse wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't just a single critical incident. It sounds like this was ongoing because these injuries were recent.
Get a good look at her. A week. It took her a week to take her child to the hospital, and any other child had injuries. This is so sad. Hi, Running Bear. It makes me so mad when parents don't, like, your children are number one, right? Like, man, my son raises his voice with his kids and I get angry. You know what I mean? Like, this is not.
And some had begun to heal and heal over. So it tells me that this was activity, that this was abuse, that was certainly not just a one-time thing, and it had unfortunately been course of conduct. And I think that was reflected in the criminal complaint because the endangering the welfare of a child charge was charged as a felony, which typically means that it was charged as a course of conduct, not just a one-time incident or event, but something that was occurring over a matter of time.
Haley Province, according to the investigators, said that the relationship had soured or become more intense after she moved in with this Bobby Bender. And really the implication here is that Bobby Bender and
yet she went on to leave her children alone with him every Friday while she went to the doctor. What kind of doctor was this woman going to? See, in my city, one of the problems I have is that I feel our city welcomes drug use. Okay? We have clinics all over the place that people can go and get clean needles. Oh, yeah. We have clinics all over the place that people can go get their methadone. There's one right down the street from me. They call it the Harley House because it's housed in a Harley bike shop. building. They give them the Narcan. Maybe if more people, you know what? I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself because I'll get hate. I have my own feelings on it because I have family members that are addicts. I've watched them neglect their children. I have a sister right now. I don't know if she's in jail or not. I don't speak to her. Her children were taken because she was allowing the father of the children to touch my niece. I've gone over that here. I've spoken about it here on my channel. Drug use is a serious issue in my city. This is not the first case in my city of child abuse and child neglect due to drug use. It will not be the last one. I have a voice. I have a platform. And I feel when these cases happen in my city, I'm going to start pointing them out. This makes me so angry. Very angry. There was a terrible case in Hawkins County. I'll have to look at it, Moonshine Girl. But this is happening daily. Daily. All over this country. It's so sad.
Injured these children. She certainly didn't admit to injuring the children, but it's implied that he possibly did this while left alone with the children because the children were either in her care or in Bobby Bender's care. And she talked about him becoming more frustrated and them arguing a lot more after they moved in July. So obviously, you know, the cops are putting this, she's charged as well. So they're putting this also on her.
Sure. And I think that from what I saw in the complaint, that is a fair charging decision, that she is a parent. She has the responsibility to ensure and to protect the welfare of the children by keeping them from medical care for any amount of time when it was needed. That would certainly fit the statute for endangering the welfare. But more than that, keeping them in a situation and putting them in the care of someone who she knew or reasonably should have known would have caused injury or was causing ongoing injury to these children was just as, in my opinion, just as much a criminal act, or could be shown to be just as much a criminal act as actually inflicting the blows herself. There's also an argument to be made that in not taking the children for medical care, that she participated in something of a cover-up, and even a cover-up after a crime is committed could lead to a conspiracy charge, because if there was a meeting of the minds of two people to do something wrong, to do something criminal like hide evidence of abuse or keep a child from the necessary care, that was the formation of a conspiratorial relationship.
Yeah, and they are facing a conspiracy charge. You know, there were fractures in the upper arm of the 2-year-old, multiple cuts and bruises, and also the child tested positive for cocaine. So, you know, 2-year-olds are busy. We know that. So we don't know if this 2-year-old somehow accidentally ingested the cocaine. They said that they found a straw in a bag with white residue in the apartment. So the child could have accidentally gotten into the cocaine. Or I don't know, are there other ways that the child, you know, heaven forbid, I would hope that somebody would not have actually given a child, a toddler, cocaine.
Well, my response to that is, why is there cocaine in any kind of residence with a child where a child would have access? And so to me, it doesn't matter how the child came to ingest it, whether it was accidental, whether it was exploratory, experimental on the part of the child, pure curiosity, pure childlike behavior and kind of grabbing anything and putting it in their mouth. But the fact that it was somewhere that could be accessed and could be ingested by the child contributes to the endangering the welfare charge.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk now about the 3-year-old. He's John Doe 2, and he had a clavicle fracture, you know, so that's basically the collarbone on the left and right side, and then a 10th rib fracture as well, and then neck ligatures. So ligatures, to me, that makes me think of somebody actually putting something around somebody's neck and trying to strangle them.
That indicates a strangulation incident to me. That is a foreign object that blocks the airway, blocks the trachea. It ultimately blocks the flow of oxygen to the brain. I think a medical expert or a nurse.
Yet this lady continued to leave her children with this man. This is so sad. I don't understand how somebody can't love their children enough. Yes. Yes, Running Bear. Agree. That was my thought too when I heard her say that.
Nurse examiner would be able to testify as to the risk that's involved in depriving the brain of oxygen. Even deprivation of about 10 seconds of oxygen to the brain can lead to serious bodily injury. That's why Pennsylvania has a separate strangulation charge. But ligature marks are almost always indicative of an external object being used around the neck to block the trachea.
It's just really horrible to think about what these poor little boys, what they went through. Just little kids, defenseless. They can't do anything for themselves. They're facing charges now. They've got the endangering the welfare of the children charges, aggravated assault, conspiracy. I mean, they're saying basically, the cops are in here, that they believe Bender and Haley Province, that they were selling drugs. They were dealing drugs. They found text messages on a cell phone in there where basically they're talking with some guy named Mikey Barr about selling him drugs. So basically they're saying these are two people who were selling drugs, probably using drugs as well, probably addicted. Bobby Bender admitted to using drugs and said that Haley Province used crack, and children are being abused. I mean, you said this is far too common. What was your experience when you were prosecuting these cases? How often would you see people in similar situations to this?
Every day. Which is a really heartbreaking and pitiful thing to think about, that these crimes are happening behind closed doors and in people's homes, where a home should be a child's haven. It should be your safe place to go. It should be where you are cared for and loved and nurtured. And it's the place where all of the scary things in the world can't and don't get to you. But when you go home and close the door, and that is your safe haven, and it's turned into a hell because of the two people who should be most caring and most nurturing toward you, and they're turning your existence into a living horror, that's just unimaginable. And in any case that involves children, what I have to think about from my experience as a prosecutor is how can we prove this, right? So you're not going to put, in all likelihood, you're not going to put a 2 or a 3-year-old on the stand. Certainly not a 2-year-old. Probably not a 3-year-old. And even if you did put a 3-year-old on the stand, there would be the hurdle to surmount, which is competency, proving that a 3-year-old understands.
I will be following up with this case. This is local to me. It will not be hard for me to do. I will be covering this case. I will be researching this case. I will be reaching out to people I know in Rankin that might know these people. This is aggravating to me. I have family in Rankin, so... Well, see, we have a problem here in Pittsburgh, Running Bear. I know many cases, and that's why I sympathize with the Wells when they talk about DHS. I have a friend. Her first name's Gina. Well, she ain't my friend. Her cousin's my friend. But this was, oh, Lord, probably around the time, it's part of the reason I allowed my son's father to take the child. But they took the care off of the mother, who was an addict, which is fine. She probably should have lost custody of her child, but they gave it to the father, who is just as bad, if not worse, than the mother. And the baby ended up like falling out of a window because they were high and passing away. So it was a case where DHS took the kids out of the home and put them into another home where there was abuse. And it's not the only case around here. It happens often. And I'm sure it happens all over the country, right? Like, it's not just going to happen here in my city, it's going to be everywhere. And it's a part of the reason why these kids are missing, or hurt, or unalived. There needs to be a problem. The epidemic, the drug epidemic, I feel plays a big part of it. I know in my city that there are many cases where the parents are addicts and they allow because there's not enough foster homes, right? There's not enough places for them to adopt these children out to. They allow the families to keep the children monitoring. Like, it's sick. It's sick. And it's a problem. And it's a problem everywhere. And that's why I'm covering this a little bit tonight, because there are other cases, there are other children out there that need help now. Right now, as we're sitting here speaking, there's probably a child being abused somewhere in this country, in my state, in your state. Light has to be brought to it. The drug epidemic that they are acting like is over is not. It's just different new drugs. And it causes these parents to act like zombies and not care about their children. And then things like this happen. My city is really bad when it comes to, like, okay, let's give you a clean needle. A lot of people agree with that. I don't, because that's permitting it. A lot of people fight against that. Like, oh, well, it's just like the whole Narcan thing. I have a lot of feelings on that. I feel like that's like giving permission for the addict, especially parents, especially young parents. So many young people are addicted and ignoring their children. It's a problem. Right, Running Bear. Right this very second, a child needs help. We have to start bringing light to these other cases. It can't just stick to one child. There are so many. So many. I'm going to start doing that on my channel. I'm going to start bringing light to these cases. We have to stop this drug epidemic so that parents can wake up and start caring for their children. It's a serious problem. All right. So, I really didn't have no content gathered tonight for summer. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. We're just going to talk. So if any of yous want to chat, I'm actually going to light another cigarette. Hold on. I think that I have a little bit to say. I watched 6 Up tonight. I don't want to attack 6 Up. The woman really doesn't have no reason not to like me. I don't know where this animosity is coming from. All of a sudden, I like 6 Up's channel. I don't like that she consistently makes fun of people, their weight, what they look like. But I don't say nothing because that's her own channel, right? I was a little bit offended when she says, oh, she's a conspiracy theorist. But then she goes on to say, oh, wait, Jody Sue has charges. Apparently, her friend Ellie didn't tell her that Jody was also involved in the same traffic ring bust that James Light was, or that Andy was, or that Fred was, right? In my opinion, looking at things, which means I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And it means that she doesn't know the facts of the case because she didn't follow it because she can't stand to hear Jody talk, which is fine. I get that. But if you're not going to follow every single person in the case, then you can't make assumptions that somebody is a certain way or stating conspiracies. Have I been guilty of conspiracies like my fairy tale? Yeah. But I've also had lawsuits against me and I've been quieted, right? I don't think it's fair of Six Up, who hasn't done the full research, to judge people like me and Killer Looks. I'm not saying Killer's right. There's a lot of times that I have been Killer. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Right? I've been in touch with more people than just Fred's sister. And I don't think that it's fair that I get the treatment I'm getting from some creators that haven't done their own research. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I am going to say, Kathy, 117, never, not once. Please stop spreading rumors about me. Did I contact Jody Sue's sister by phone or voice in any matter? I've never recorded her. I contacted her about Jody Sue stating that people were hurting her via Messenger. I put a small portion of that message out on my community wall to prove that I spoke to her and that these things were not happening to Jody Sue on her parents' property. That's what I did. I'm sick and tired of people making up bullshit, false fucking rumors about me. I did not ever contact her sister by phone. Please stop spreading bullshit. Okay? I like Killer Looks too. And I don't think it's fair of other creators just to attack creators for absolutely no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not right. And I'm not going to sit here and allow it when I haven't said anything nasty about that creator. I have my feelings about Six Up too, if you want to know the truth. However, we're going to leave them at that because I'm not petty and I'm not here to attack other creators that haven't attacked me. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to cover the cases that I do. And when people talk about me from now on, I'm going to ignore it because that's not why I'm here unless it's something I'm already involved in. Like the Ziggy shit and the Jody Sue shit. You know, the shit I did research that other people didn't. I am going to address one more thing I just thought of. Ziggy's parents not supposed to be contacted. Let me state this. Ziggy's parents raised Ziggy's daughter for a majority of her life. I'm going to say it one more time. There was a reason for that. If that were my grandchildren, I would want to know. I would do everything I possibly could to get my grandchildren out of that situation to keep them safe. They are not safe under a roof with Fred, in my opinion. He has a criminal past. If my ex-daughter-in-law had some killer or somebody who was accused of attempted such several times and it had spent prison time, I would want to know, and I would hope that somebody would call me and let me know so that I can protect my grandchildren. So there's that. Thank you, Special. It's just enough, Running Bear, like it is. I don't say shit about these creators, but for some reason they got to get on there like I have certain ways and feelings and this, that, and the other, and they don't know what I know. Not everything I put out is a conspiracy. I have been forced to put things out in a certain manner because of lawsuits against me. When I look into something, I match what people say. I look at court orders and court documents. Okay? I look at things that are fact, even though it's not always fact. And I don't state it as always fact. My channel is a speculation channel. It's a channel where I talk about the crimes, and if I want to laugh about them, or I mean, not every crime, don't get me wrong, there's tragedies, right? Like, but it's not anybody's job to say how I feel. If you have opinions of me, that's fine, but I will not be watching any more of her lives. Don't tell me about them. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to fight with new creators or to bring that in, or like even Lady R, I feel right now she is edging me on, and this happens every couple of weeks. She does this. She disagrees with what I say. She this, that, that's fine. Go to your channel and disagree. Don't come to mine. I spoke to Ellie. I know what she said to me. I spoke to Karen. You absolutely did fucking come in my panel and say that squall, not my panel, my chat. That squall, I think that squall. Then you went on your channel, you post shit on your wall, you delete the shit you post after you post it to say so that people can't say, oh, I did this, and it's enough. You cause fucking problems and everybody's chat. You yell at everybody. You and Heather, you don't have an open mind. You yourself have been involved in the marathon and other things. You sit here and you say, I'm not a creator. Then get the fuck off YouTube. Plain and simple. Because I'm done with your ass too. Okay? I don't think you people understand. I am not above sticking up for myself. I see the shit that goes on. And when other people have feelings about people in my chat, I have those feelings too. However, I pick and choose my fights. I have enough fucking problems on this platform that I don't need to go fighting and causing fights and petty bullshit. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to show cases like this one right here.
And the importance of an oath and understands the difference between the truth and a lie. So ultimately,
do I sometimes come on here and laugh and conspire and bullshit and talk? Yes. That's the name of my channel. Crystal's Crime Conversations. Not everything has to be serious all the time. Ever. Life would be boring, sad, angry if it were. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but I didn't go attacking Six Up or anybody else. And that's where I'm going to stand with that. Okay. Right. 100%. I don't think it's going real life to allow a family that raised somebody's daughter to know that their child is living with somebody who's a suspect in the missing child's case. I would want to know that. I would want to remove my grandchildren at no matter what age, even if they were 30 years old. I would want to remove my children or my grandchildren from that situation. Not going real life is a problem on this platform. That's why Ruby's Frank children were tied up in a basement somewhere. Do you understand that? If you're going to sit here and watch it and do nothing about it, there's a serious issue. You shouldn't be here. Okay, so this was a 43-minute live. We're going to cut it short. I just had a few things that I wanted to say. I'm going to go catch up and watch other people for a little bit. If I get bored tonight, maybe I'll be back. I slept. I fell asleep again and took a nap. I know. It's horrible, world. Why are you laughing? So I'm up. I'm up for the night. However, I want to go peruse the streets. And if I get bored and anybody wants to come chit chat, let me know. If y'all are bored and nobody's on, I'll come back live. I don't really have no content made for today because I've been watching everybody's chats and everybody's comments about me. Listen, man, I'm just over here on my channel covering what the fuck it is that I want to cover. I'm not over there telling people what not to cover and what I feel their feelings are and what they should cover and what they shouldn't cover. That's not what I do over here. It's okay for everybody to have their opinions. It's not okay to attack. Peace and love. Maybe I'll be back later. Please share this case. that I just shared with you and any other case that you see like this, because it's important. We have to put an end to it. There's a problem. All right, guys, peace and love. Maybe I'll be back in a couple hours. Bye.